meeting to order of the special meeting of the Richland Bee Blossom 2000 School Building Corporation. And if you will, we'll call to order, and if you'll please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that Jerry Cravens is present, Kenny Williams present, and Randy Wright is present. There is no business for consideration for item number 4. For item number 5 and item number 6, I will defer to Dr. Sanders.
Yes, so based on conversations with our financial consultants, we've determined that refunding our 2019 bond will result in significant savings in future payments. Jacob McClellan, our bond counsel with Bose, McKinney, and Evans, has been working with Ferguson Law to prepare the resolution you're being asked to approve tonight. Jacob is out of town this week, and we're glad to have Dennis Otten, also from Bose, McKinney, and Evans, here tonight to explain the refunding process and the resolution. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dr. Sanders, and good evening, members of the board and members of the public that are present. As Dr. Sanders just mentioned, you have before you this evening a resolution that authorizes the current refunding of the outstanding 2019 bonds that have been issued by the Building Corporation. In this transaction, unlike a new money or a project financing, is rather streamlined. There aren't public hearings that need to be held. It's rather straightforward. It's an authorization from the Building Corporation of the resolution to permit the refinancing. The school board will also be presented this evening with a companion resolution that will also authorize the refunding transaction. You'll see referenced in the proposed resolution reference to certain financing documents. We have forms of those with us this evening. I should say I've got forms of those with me this evening. Those documents will be completed with the final pricing results once the bonds are priced, and they'll be presented to the board members for signature at that time, similar to prior financings. But otherwise, it's rather straightforward. It's for savings. And unless there's any questions, is it all right, Dr. Sanders, if I turn it over to Matt Shoemaker?
Yes, we're going to have 2 items, though. So if you want to combine these, I guess we should do them separately. But yes, if, Matt or Chad, if you want to speak to that right now, you're fine to do that.
Yeah, want me to walk through that? Sure. Does everybody have a copy of this handout? So I'll just walk through this real quick. I'm Matt Shoemaker, my colleague Chad Blacklock. We are with Stiefel. We worked with the school corporation for the past year or so on their bond financings. This is for the 2019 bonds. If you go to, I guess not the cover page, this has some of the information regarding the numbers. So about 8.8 million was issued back in 2019. If you go down to the chart, the refunding bonds, that would be the new, the par amount of the new bonds. You'd have to issue about 8,350,000 to refund what is currently outstanding at 8,750,000. These next 2 lines, you can see pretty quickly why there is savings. The average coupon of the refunded bonds, that's just a fancy term to say what the interest rate that you're paying right now. So you're paying about 3% on the outstanding bonds as of today. The arbitrage yield, another fancy tax term for what the interest rate on the new bonds would be. So you're paying about 3%. You could refinance under current market rates a little bit under 2%, thus interest rate savings. Pure cash flow savings equate to about $567,000. All of this is estimated as of today. You're obviously not locking in interest rates as of today. Market moves up and down all the time. I'll talk about that a little bit in current slides. So this isn't, hey, you approved this tonight, that 567 is locked in until the bonds are actually sold, which are probably going to be 30 to 60 days from now. That number could get higher or lower based on what the market does over that period of time. Net present value savings, taking the cash flow savings, PVing it back to today, you're about 515,000. One of the biggest metrics that we look at when it comes to refinancing bonds is the percentage savings of the refunded bonds. The market norm or general rule of thumb is you want to see that at 3% or higher. You guys are at 5.88%, so you're above that to when it probably makes sense to start having these proceedings and getting ready to see where the market is. The last line there is the PV savings of a 1 basis point change. 1 basis point is 0.01 percentage points. So if the market gets better 1 basis point, you're going to save $6,500 more. If it gets worse, you're going to see the savings go down $6,400. But we always like to show that when we talk about, hey, the market moving 10 basis points or 50 basis points, you can do the simple math to see what that would do for savings. Questions on this page?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Sure.
I'm a financial advisor at Jones, and I know that at least the 10-year Treasury has been coming up fairly quickly over the last 6 months.
Yep.
And you're not locking in this rate until you sell these bonds later on. I suspect, it's going to be quite a bit higher than what we're showing here.
Yeah, it certainly could. So if you go to that next page, we have a chart of just kind of detailing what interest rates have done recently. Obviously, you hit the nail on the head. A couple months ago, these savings were much higher, hundreds of thousands of dollars higher. So getting your approval tonight, the school board approval tonight, doesn't mean you guys have to proceed. So if we get 30 to 60 days down the road, rates have kept going up, you don't have to proceed. You can sit and wait. You're merely getting the approvals tonight that if the market dictates that savings are what makes the administration happy, they can move forward at that time. So this is just the first step. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Oftentimes you will see schools get it approved, rates go way up. They may sit on it for 6 months, a year, 2 years. The resolutions passed tonight don't limit you in terms of time or anything like that. So it's something we're going to watch. This chart, I think it speaks for itself. We saw a huge run up, obviously, when COVID hit last March, about a year ago. Rates came down lower than they had ever been. But to your point, the last 30 days, we have seen those rates go up fairly dramatically. The tax-exempt market, our benchmark is MMD. It's not Treasury since we're doing tax-exempt bonds. That's run up about 50 basis points, so it's lagged a little bit behind Treasuries, but we could see that catch up over the next few weeks. I think that's something that time will tell. So again, you're not locking yourself into anything. It's something that we're going to pay attention to.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we might not see quite the amount of savings that you're saying.
Absolutely. It's absolutely a legitimate concern. I will say we've seen rates go up like this probably twice a year for the last 5 or 6 years. They've always come back down. I think this might be a little bit different, I think, with a lot of the inflation concerns. So it's just something that we're going to monitor. What we always tell our clients is you get everything ready, we'll see what the market is. If it doesn't make sense at that point, you sit and wait on it. At least now you have the approvals that you can move quickly and you're not talking about, hey, the market looks good, let's get the approvals, and we're still 30 to 60 days down the road.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see them come down to the next recession.
Quite possible.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is there a forward rate lock available for a fee?
Yeah, so we have done forward rate locks. That is a great question. Typically on something like this, because you can refinance it as soon as we get all the approvals, you wouldn't see that. We could certainly talk to some banks. Bank rates have been higher really since the Tax Act changed back in 2017. It's something that we can certainly look into. My guess is it's not going to make sense because the public market has been so much better. You certainly would pay a premium to get a rate lock, but that's something that we'd be happy to look into. So the last 2 pages here have an interest rate forecast. It sounds like you guys are already well read into that. So I'm not going to go through that at all, but certainly appreciate your time. I don't know, Jerry, if there's anything else that I missed, or if you guys have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And for the record, the members of the building corporation have had the documents to review prior to the meeting. All right, so we have 2 items then that we need to take action on. The first one is to consider approving the refunding resolution for 2019 bond. So I recommend your approval.
Okay, do we need a form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion for number 5, consideration for the approval of refunding resolution for 2019 bond action?
So moved.
Your second?
I'll second.
Any questions? So moved. Call for the question, I guess, right? Aye. I haven't been on the school board for a while, so I'm a little rusty, so.
So have you called for a vote on that?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Item number 6 is to approve the, we need to, since you've passed a resolution, we need to secure an underwriter. And we've been working with Stiefel, Nicholas and Company, and Chad Blacklock and Matt Shoemaker. Matt just spoke to you, are here tonight. They've already shared information with you. I would recommend your approval for the engagement agreement with Stiefel.
We'll entertain a motion for number 6, consideration to approve engagement with Stiefel, Nicholas and Company, Inc. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the engagement with Stiefel Nicholas and Company.
Okay, or a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a call for the question. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
A while ago, we did not vote on that first part.
We didn't vote.
Correct. We need to do that.
Okay, we want to correct it. Kenny says we didn't vote correctly on the first item, number 5. Okay.
We've had the discussion, so call for the vote and let's vote on it.
Okay, let's call for the vote on number 5, consideration to approve refunding resolution for 2019 bond action. Okay, call for the vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
That's it.
Meeting adjourned.